We the people of the state of Jefferson, ever mindful of the rights we hold most dear, life, liberty, and property, are compelled to establish this, our new state, for the preservation of these natural inalienable rights. Our mandate for the protection of life, liberty, and property gives urgent voice to our demand for representation that reflects our needs, our history, our culture, and our moral imperfectitude. Time has come for 51. This is Terry Rapoza.
And Wynn Carpenter. You're listening to Jefferson State of Mind podcast.
Good morning, everybody. I guess good evening. I have the habit of saying that because it is morning, but you can hear us tonight at 6 o'clock. And actually, this particular segment will be on Thursday night.
Thursday night at 6 o'clock.
Because it is Monday today, isn't it?
It is Monday, yep.
We changed all this stuff around, so it's new to me.
Yep. New scheduling.
I know. I've got to be careful about what I say, too. It's like the first day of my new tongue. And we are here with Tim Garman. How are you, sir?
Hey,
Candidate.
good morning, good evening. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, it's great. So, Tim, you're running for supervisor for District 2 in Shasta County. Hopefully, we will recall
Yes.
Leonard Modi.
Yep.
And so tell us a little bit about yourself, and also, if you could go into why you want to run. What is it that prompts you to want to get into to politics? What is it?
Okay, thank you. A little bit about myself. Next June will be 25 years of marriage to my beautiful wife, Rebecca. We have 5 kids, 3 grandkids. Been in Shasta County almost all my adult life. Grew up just north of Red Bluff, and this area is home. Love Shasta County, and just want to see it kind of come back to where it's a fun place to be again. What got me into politics, if you want to go there, is being one of the supervisor meetings. And I just feel like there's a complete lack of engagement between our some of our board members up there and the public. Like I'll go up there and you'll watch Mr. Modi, and he'll sit there and he'll just look straight ahead at the wall. People are talking in public comment. You could care less what they're saying. Mm-hmm. And how could you lead your county when you won't even listen to the people? We need to be able to listen to the people of the county. Whether you agree or not, you need to listen to them and then take your action you feel is the best.
You know, when I say the word politics, there's a thing called a politician. And you, sir, I see a statesman. That's what I believe that Patrick Jones is a statesman.
I agree. Yep.
And so going into politics is one thing. Being a statesman is another. Being a politician is
another animal.
Yeah, it's a whole other animal.
Yep.
So as a statesman, sir, what are some of the things in Shasta County, and say maybe the top 3 things in Shasta County you see immediately we need to change or get back to?
Okay. Number 1 probably is going to be the crime element, and we need a better detention facility. We need some better mental health facilities as well. Just last week, I'd finished up a long jury trial where I was a juror. We went into 3 different weeks with that, and it was a very troubling case. And afterwards, I kind of needed to unwind for a few minutes, and I went over to the post office saloon to grab a burger. And 10 feet from the door is human feces.
Oh, great.
Yeah, this is at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's just like,
Welcome to Reading.
why would anybody want to come here? Why would anybody want to stay here?
Yeah.
Those lifelong people are leaving the county in droves. It's like we have to fix this, you guys. So yeah, we need something better with that, and we need to do it without raising taxes. So basically, when I'm elected supervisor on February the 1st, make sure you guys get out and vote, please. That's one of the first things we'll be looking at is how do we come across this and how do we act on it. We could talk about it all day and all night, but at some point we have to take some action, and I think that's been lacking. Everybody wants to talk about it, but nobody wants to do anything.
I agree.
Okay, it's time. If we don't do something, we're not going to have anybody left in this county. The people are going to continue to leave. So that is a pressing issue for me with that. As far as the mental health side of it goes, there's a lot of programs that are already existing. I don't know what's lacking with that. When I get involved as a supervisor, I like to go interview some of those people. I'm already talking with different people now to find out what works, what doesn't work. Maybe talk to different counties across the state where they're having some success with that. And what can we implement here to make this work?
Right.
But really, you guys, probably the first thing I would like to do as a supervisor is have a forensic budget done to find out where our money is, where it's been, where it's going. Okay, then if we could come up with some hard numbers, we could figure out what is the best direction of the county.
Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah, so that's a big one for me. Number one, obviously, is the mandates.
Yep.
There's a lot of money attached to that, and before COVID, we survived somehow, right? We were paying the bills, and some of our department heads make a lot of money, but yet we were still paying the bills. So what I'd like to do is get rid of the strings attached. Okay, we don't need the money if there's strings attached. We are our own county. We're not Sacramento. We need to start acting like it.
Well, and also, too, with those strings attached, they're telling us how to spend our own money.
Yep.
And then if we get essentially what they're calling free money, COVID money, it still comes from us. It's not free. It comes from the taxpayers. So whatever's allocated to a county for all this COVID debacle is still coming from us. So how is this going to work? I mean, are they robbing Peter to pay Paul? They say, oh, yeah, the feds mandated this because they're giving us this money. Well, the money the feds are giving us is coming from us, or they're printing it up, and that's where our economy is just going to get tanked.
Well, we see the inflation already, right?
Yes.
I went to buy a can of green beans last night at the grocery outlet. It was $1.19 a can for a can of green beans. That used to be 50, 60 cents.
Right. Same with gasoline.
Oh, you can go on and on. The inflation, we're seeing it start to creep up quite rapidly, actually.
Scary.
That's a whole other story.
But it's all related, though.
It is all related. But we need to bring local government back to local without the strains.
Absolutely.
And I know that a lot of our budget is directed, 85% of it is directed at certain areas it has to be spent on. I understand that. But we don't need to pull in all this extra money. Yeah, and millions are just dangling as a carrot in front of us. It's like, oh, wear your mask, do this, and you can have the money. No, that's not how a government's supposed to work.
Now, with the forensic audit, so that will tell you where money is spent. It'll tell you who spent it, how it was spent, why it was spent, all that kind of stuff. It'll get more into the details versus just a standard audit where they rob Peter to pay Paul, debit and credit, whatever. But the forensic part of it, where that is truly going to show what's really going on, is going to cost money. We know that.
Yep.
And I like you, I want every single department in the county audited. Every department. It's critical that we find out who's doing well with what they have and who is not doing well with all that they have. And those are the kind of things we need to find out, because the department managers, the heads, and all the other leadership in each one of these departments need to be audited to the fullest degree, because they are the employees of the county and of the sovereign citizens of the county who pay their bills, pay their salaries.
I've got a question about the budget, and that was a great point, by the way. 10 years ago, we had 170,000 people in the county. Now we have 180,000.
Right.
Our budget was $300 million, and in 10 years, it's gone to $600 million. Now, has anybody in Shasta County noticed an improvement in their lives over that time? We've seen a lot of things go up, as you guys just alluded to. So the question is, where's that money going? The other thing I'd like to bring up and get your thoughts on this is a zero-based budget. Because part of the problem we've had, I know with the AB 109 money, probation received the lion's share of that. And I think they received about $4 to $5 million. And then on the last one, and they started their new budget with $1.5 million of that money. Well, how come they didn't spend that money, number one? And number two, the jail and the sheriff's department started out with around $1 million, and they're out of money. So, you stop and think about where this is going. I think you hit something there on having a budget, auditing that budget, and that, as you say, my good friend, is every department needs to be audited. So we have that forensic audit. But how do you explain that $300 million in 10 years with only 10,000 more people in the county?
Well, they're going to try to tell us it's inflation, right? Yeah. But seriously, that's what they're going to. What other defense can they use? There is no logical defense to that.
Isn't. No.
Well, in the current board of supervisors, they haven't gone through and done a complete setup of the budget, because one of our former board of supervisors, she was on a radio show that she hosts on Thursday mornings here locally, and she was talking about when she was on as a supervisor for I think 16 years, they would go through line item by line item. They'd put a red line through something, or they would question something. If they saw something that was not acceptable or just kind of drew a question, they would go through every single item. And she knows, because she's talked to the current board of supervisors, that they don't do that. And it was evident when they voted on the budget. And Patrick Jones, one of our locals as a supervisor, he even said, no, they didn't even do that. They looked at it and they let the staff do it.
Yep.
So they're letting staff do
They're taking the easy way out, Win.
They are taking
They
the
don't
easy
want to
way
look at
out.
the 10 stack of paperwork and go through it line by line. But that's what our
Right.
job is as an elected official.
Absolutely.
It's not to sit back and let somebody else do my job.
That's correct.
I need to get my hands wet.
Yep.
And see what it takes.
That's right.
Yeah, but
And you have to do the uncomfortable thing too. Sometimes it's like, we need to cut here because we just can't. We have to balance the budget.
Exactly. You may have to cut here. Maybe another department head or department you've gone through, maybe they need some help.
Right.
Right. You don't know if you don't go through it one by one.
That's right.
You clean house where you need to. You add where you need to.
Right.
At the end of the day, you have a balanced budget.
That's right. That's right. And it may be painful, but you know what? It's necessary.
Yep.
It's going to be absolutely necessary. It has to happen.
Yep.
And if it doesn't happen sooner than later, then later is going to really be ugly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially with the retirements with these high
So
salaries.
I take it that you're willing to sit down and do that.
Oh yes.
Okay. just had to put that out
It won't
there.
be fun, but it has to be done.
Right.
That's part of it.
Good.
Yeah, the
good.
unfunded liability is an interesting concept you guys just brought up.
Right.
You know, we've got all these pensions that are going to be ridiculous. And now we just had raises given across the board. Okay, how did that happen? And where did the money come from? Well, we know where the money came from us.
Mm-hmm.
But that money that was given for raises now increases pensions. And how does that affect the county as far as bettering the lives of the citizens? How does that even affect it?
Well, when we're
You
going to
know?
be $1 billion in arrears for the unfunded liabilities, $1 billion with a B. Good grief! How is that going to even be possible? But it is. That's what we're hearing. By looking at the budget, you look at it and forecast it, and just do the quick, easy number crunching. We're talking $1 billion.
Well, the DA just got a raise of 25%. I mean, 25%. If you can get a raise for 5%.
In any
that's a good
sector,
raise. Yeah.
in any sector of life, if you get a
that's a good
5% raise, that's good.
Good raise.
25%, unacceptable.
Well, look at McGreeny.
Are they all padding their
You
future
think?
retirement?
Well,
Kind of looks like it.
I don't know.
It makes you wonder.
Well, you also wonder about the fact that it's just like with McGreeny when he resigned as sheriff, and then he gets a 36% raise. And I had asked him, I said, "Well, wasn't your salary good before?" I mean, your comment to me, Mr. McGreeny, is that you want to serve the public here in Shasta County. You don't want to move. Well, why didn't you just keep your old salary then? Why did you get a 36% increase? And he just kind of looked at me. And it basically, when you look at our new Sheriff Johnson, you kind of scratch your head a little bit. It's sort of like, okay, well, where do you stand on this? You also got a pretty hefty raise. Now, if you really are in there for the people, I'm not saying that a worker isn't worth his wages. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying that if the income of a family of four in Shasta County is around $50,000, and that may be generous, if it's $50,000, then why should you make $200,000, $250,000, and then be able to retire on 90% of that?
Right.
How does that even work?
It doesn't.
Yeah, it's a problem. Yeah, I don't know. When those retirements come, those pensions, the money's not going to be there. We have to kind of clean it up right
And
now.
the benefits.
Yeah, the benefits to go with it. Yeah, it's crazy.
Now, what are your thoughts on? I know there have been a bunch of things at our board of supervisors over the last 18, 20 months, whatever it's been so far. I guess 20. Has it 20 or 22? It's beyond the 2 weeks. Put it that way. So, what are your thoughts on the way they handled, keeping the sovereign citizens out of the chambers? They removed all the seat bottoms, right, in the chambers, so that nobody could be in there, or very few, unless you were in there standing room only. But they didn't even allow that in the beginning. Yeah. You had to stand in the lobby of the breezeway into the building at a microphone, which was secured by a sheriff's deputy or a staffer from the county. Of course, they were all masked up, and you had to, at some point, some people being masked to use the microphone, which was, my guess, about 80 feet away from the dais where they sit. Yeah. and they're behind plexiglass on top of that, and then they're all masked up. So what are your thoughts on that scenario?
It's disgusting.
Yeah,
I think they wish they could still be behind all that, to be honest with you.
I agree.
All right? It's like they don't want to face the public.
Right.
I think there's more to it than just the mandates. It's just always, I don't know. It's terrible. It should never be that way. You should never have an open meeting where it's half closed or whatever way you want to look at it.
Right.
It's an open public meeting.
And the public was willing to be there.
Yep.
And they're fighting to be there. They're fighting to be heard. They're doing the 3 minutes stating whatever it is that's on their heart that they want to talk about every single meeting.
Yep.
And we've had several meetings where they've been very long because there have been a great line of sovereign citizens, patriots,
They want to
standing
speak
up
for
there
3
talking.
minutes. Yep.
Yeah. And there's sprinkled in some whack jobs in there every once in a while. You're going to have that. That's normal. But they still have the right to stand up there and speak and say what they want to say. There's also accountability for what you say. So people have to remember that part of it too. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how that all plays out.
Well, it is interesting. Did you know if there's still school boards out there in this county that will have only a Zoom meeting with their school board?
Really?
They still will not do in
person?
meetings. Yep.
They're that fearful.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay. So, and that's some of the school districts to reach out to me like, how do we get some action taken here? Difficult when you can't even get in front of somebody and plead your case.
Well, according to the California Constitution, the people have the right to scrutinize their legislature and any legislation that's being done.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another point that's illegal. And I'll get you one of those.
Thank you.
But you know, that's the thing. Again, we always come back to this thing where it's a newer thing, I guess, because we've all been talking about suing and this attorney and that attorney and this lawsuit,
that's
that
crazy.
lawsuit. How about criminally? And I know
Arrest them.
yeah, well, I know that Katie Gorman and myself had a meeting with our sheriff, Mike Johnson, and we had a meeting with him about 3 weeks ago now on a Friday. It was about an hour and a half meeting. And there was a lot of these types of things brought up, and we'll be doing more on that, on these podcasts and bringing that stuff up. Now, this local state of emergency, we have the power in our county to stop that. What would be your position on the local state of emergency?
Number one, there is no state of emergency. It's as simple as that. We don't meet the criteria. We never have.
Right.
Okay, so that would go away ASAP.
Well, as the executive and legislative arm of the county, being a board of supervisor, as the board, they are the executive, the executive and legislative branch of our county. You can interpose between the sovereign citizens and the state. Not can, you should, and you are obligated to do so.
If you're not afraid.
If you're not afraid. Yeah. And I don't see any fear in you, so I'm assuming you're going to stand up and interpose.
Absolutely.
It's the $34 million.
They could take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah. And, that's the thing. It's sort of like that was brought up by Jeremy Edwardson at the last supervisor meeting. He did a great job. And a very good point in the fact that, if we don't follow the mandates, we don't get the money. Well,
how about this? Why don't we just keep our money in our county? Why do we put it in a blender, send it to Sacramento? By the way, they charge us to wire it to them. And then when they get done doing what they're doing and they figure out all the mandates they want us in our county to be obligated to, they send it back to us and charge us another transfer fee. Yes, they do that, folks, depending on, and the fee is equated to the amount of the money sent and received. So keep that in mind. We're being double dip charged for that. So why don't we just stop that? Figure out what we got going on in our county, how much money we truly need, figure out what we have within our county, and then if there is anything left over, it can trickle to Sacramento.
Should be.
So why not make that happen? I mean, I would, for one, would like to open that can of worms and see how that works.
Yeah, I'm not against looking into that by any means.
Okay, good, good.
we had Scott Thompson on this program. He is the vice mayor of Oroville. We had him on this program last week.
Yeah, last week, yeah.
And Scott's also a pastor.
Yes, he is.
And anyway, he's been on Fox News and Glenn Beck, et cetera. And he's gone and talked about these types of things. But what Oroville did was declare themselves a constitutional republic. Now, there was one of the magazines you and I were talking about during the break. We were talking about some of the magazines, some of the writers. They actually wrote and wanted the Pentagon and the Department of Justice to look into Orville because it's sedition what they're doing and insurrection. Well, no, it's not.
It's not.
It's basically following the Constitution.
The Constitution, exactly.
And we talked about resolutions. Resolutions, do they have teeth? Well, sometimes, it's sort of like the Constitution. The Constitution's only a piece of paper unless you use it.
Right.
And I think that,
you have to exercise it every day.
Now, you talked about crime. We talked about the budget.
Yeah, a couple other issues I'd like to bring up if I have some time.
Oh, yeah.
Our 2A rights. Okay, to get a concealed weapons permit here takes forever anymore. Okay, it used to be quite simple. That needs to be streamlined as well.
And it costs a lot of money.
Yeah, right. And why?
That's the $1 million question.
Right. So that needs to be a hot topic as well. We got to figure out what the deal is with that. And I've actually requested a ride along with the sheriff's department and have gotten the cold shoulder there. I want to know going into this, what do their deputies look like? What is their role in the streets? Right. I requested a day ride along as well as a night shift, and because of COVID, I'm being told, at least at the office point, that I cannot not ride along.
Interesting.
So, wow, well, they didn't have a problem with that at all when we were there. I mean,
interesting.
We had people were practically hugging each other.
So I don't know how I can help them if they can't open some doors up. At least let us see what we're dealing with.
Right.
Okay. I mean, I want to get involved. I want to bring some community engagement back. I will go out and meet with different people. I will listen to these people that come to speak at the board meetings. I am still technically the school board president in Happy Valley. At those board meetings, we have the 3-minute a public comment time with a 20-minute cap per topic. I have never once in my time as board president in the last 2 years stopped anybody at 3 minutes, nor have I stopped it at 20 minutes. If they took the time to come and speak, no matter if they were for or against, I wanted to hear what they had to say.
Right.
Okay, that community engagement will build trust between our constituents and the elected officials, which is lacking in this county, and it's lacking in our state, and it's lacking in our country.
Right.
Okay, so somebody's got to get up there and be willing to hear what the people want and then take some action on it. So that's one of the things that I'll bring to you guys after February the 1st.
That's an excellent point, because during also not just public comment, but every agendized item, the public has the right to comment. Now, Joe Clementi tried to take that away with a motion. He tried to take that away, saying if you want to talk about any agendized item, you need to be speaking about that during public comment, which is, I don't know if it's illegal, but it's highly irregular.
Yeah, it's not how
and
it
no
works.
one has ever done it. So he did rescind his own motion the following week. But the idea of the thought process that he felt he has a social contract that he has to uphold. There is no social contract. There's the Constitution.
So who's the other party on this social contract? Are they signing a contract truly? Is that what he's thinking? Is that the mindset?
I don't know what he's thinking.
I don't know. I don't know Joe personally, but from what I've heard, he's actually a really good guy. But you just go in there and listen to him over the past few months that I've been going to these meetings. He's just angry. You sit there and he just the back and forth comment from the public. It's like, dude, no wonder he's not running again next year. If he's that upset, he doesn't even want to be there. Is the way I take it.
Yeah.
It's like you have to be able to run a meeting without angering everybody in the audience.
Yeah.
It's.
No, we had to let Leonard Modi run it then.
He'll sleep through it, but it's okay.
Or he'll be in the bathroom the whole time, or wherever he goes.
Peanut bladder. So anyway, I think that you made a good comment about riding with the deputies. So, I mean, I've never heard that from anybody. That's a great idea. I mean, that's
why wouldn't I? I want to know what our
and why wouldn't they let you?
I don't know.
You see, I know when we were talking to Sheriff Johnson, one of the things that kind of bothered me is we asked him about the Second Amendment, as you were talking about. And we asked him about the Second Amendment, and he said, well, basically the Second Amendment, I think, I agree with the right to the Second Amendment, but I won't allow open carry, even though I can grant a permit. I won't allow an exposed weapon.
What was his reason behind that?
Well, the point is there were several reasons. One reason is that it might upset his officers. Well, there's 45 states that have open carry, and I mentioned that was a training issue. Then he also made the comment about that, we'd get phone calls, somebody brandishing a weapon. I said, well, that's why you put out some pre-planning first. You put it out in all the media and all that stuff.
Educate the public first, yeah.
And I said, by the way, up until 2012, you could open carry. So what happened between then and now? And
What changed?
Tom Basenko, you'll find this interesting. Tom Basenko, who was a prior sheriff, the first in this line of three we've had during one term, Tom said, well, it makes my officers nervous. Besides, I believe that concealed carry is tactically superior. And I said, okay, well, if concealed carry is tactically superior, then why do your officers open carry? And he said, because it's a crime deterrent. I said, so let me get this straight. So if I'm walking in the park with my grandkids and I am open carrying because I don't want some meth head to jump at us, that's a deterrent. So you're saying that as our employees, you can have something we can't have as your employers. And then with the comment by Johnson saying that I respect the right to the Second Amendment, which, shall not be infringed, but I won't allow. You can't, you don't have the right to allow or disallow. So where's your thought process on that, on how you would talk to the sheriff maybe?
Well, I would love to have a conversation with the sheriff, and I would like to promote even the open carry. And I think you're right. It has to be through education. It's just not going to happen overnight.
Right.
Nor should it happen overnight. But I would love to put some pressure on him. And first of all, we have to streamline the concealed carry. We have to start with that. But then as far as the open carry, I spent some time in Idaho this summer, and I talked to many different officers up there with the work I was doing, and they don't have any problem with it. They like it because they know that they citizens have their back.
Yeah, they know who the good guys are.
Yeah, and when some of the riots up there, they came over from Washington into Coeur d'Alene there, they tried to come into the town. The citizens lined the streets. And guess what? Those people turned around and left.
Yep.
And when it was all said and done, the police force gave the citizens a parade. No kidding.
That's awesome.
But that's what open carry can and will do for you.
Because they knew that the citizens had their back.
That's right.
And see, that's the thing. Yep. These people that...
And there's less crime.
And there's less crime.
Yep.
Hello.
Well, this is the thing about, that even in California, Penal Code Section 26150B2 specifically states that a sheriff may issue an open carry permit in a county of less than 200,000, which we are. Mm-hmm. So I asked him about that. And then that's when he said, well, he wouldn't allow. I mean, it's like, seriously? I mean, why wouldn't you do that? I mean, it's only good in your county, but it's still something legally you can do. And not one sheriff in the state of California has issued that since that became law.
And there's no form to fill out to do it. There's nothing.
Fill it out the back of your business card.
Yeah, whatever it takes. Yeah.
I mean, you're right. The Department of Justice doesn't have a form, but that doesn't mean that you can't do your own form. See,
right.
This is my thinking on the Department of Justice, just real quick. The reason there isn't a form for that is because, it could be something discriminatory when it comes down from the federal government.
Yep.
Okay, so if it's something discriminatory or comes down even from the state, it'd be well, I'm in a county of 500,000. Why can't I have one? So there's a lot of things. And again, something that's law may not be legal, and something that's legal may not be lawful.
Well, and the thing is, too, it's going counter to the Second Amendment. It's going counter to the Constitution. So, which California clearly states that it is the federal Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Yep. So, in that Constitution, the supreme law of the land, Second Amendment is there to shall bear. I mean, hello, what part do they not get? It's like they're not connecting the dots. No. I just don't get it.
They don't want to connect the dots.
They don't.
Because it's plain as day when you read it.
That's right.
There's no interpretations that can make it different.
No, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So why should people vote for Tim Garman?
Because I will listen to you. And I will not fall asleep and play on my phone during the board meetings. No, seriously, but I will listen to you. I will get out in the community. I'll come to your fire department meetings. I'll go to your different meetings in my district. I will come back with ideas, and we'll make some change.
Well, and I think you take it seriously too, because as the 5 board members, you have 1/5 of the voting responsibility for the entire county.
Absolutely, it's a big responsibility.
So every vote that you would cast is for the entire county. It's not just for District 2, and it's for all of us. So I see that as a huge win for us with having you in there because I don't live in your district.
Well, you might. It all got shuffled around.
Well, no, I'm clearly in 3. I mean, they have. I was kind of concerned watching when they were doing all that stuff. Like, are we moving or what are we doing?
Yeah.
And so I'm still in 3, so I'm doing good there. But it just it makes me hopeful that, you know, with you being in there and getting things cleaned up and moving forward and knowing you and your mindset and what you've told us so far, I see it as a big win for Shasta County to have you represent District 2.
Thank you. We just have to make a change. We can't be afraid to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Change can be very good. It can be painful, but it can be very good.
It'll be hard. There'll be some growing pains with it, I'm sure, but it has to be done.
Has to be done.
Yeah.
So how can people get a hold of you?
Okay.
And
I've got a Facebook page, garminforsupervisor.com, and it's all spelled out, FOR. I also have a Facebook page with the same thing, Garmin for Supervisor. Please go there. You can read a little bit about myself and my family, and feel free to message or...
And Garmin, how do you spell Garmin? Just for
thank you. Garman.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, feel free to go on there and find us and shoot us an inquiry, and we'll be glad to get back in touch with you. You can even send me a text or a phone call on my cell phone at 530-357-4200. I've freely given it out in the last 20 years with part of our diabetes group. It'll always forever be it's private phone, but it's always going to be public at this point in time. Mm-hmm. I want to hear what people have to say. And I don't care if you completely 100% disagree with me.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear different perspectives, right?
Yep. I can't improve as a human being if I don't listen.
That's right.
well, we've been with Tim Garman, running for supervisor of District 2 in Shasta County. And Tim, thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
I think I'm going to see you again this Sunday, aren't I?
I think we'll be back in touch, boys.
Yes, sir. All right.
Yep.
Well, my good friend, time has come.
For 51.
Let's get it done.
Amen.
Hey, CA, come out and play. Have you seen the bill we all have to pay? It's not our bill. We had no say. You don't serve us, you serve LA. The time has come for 51 in a Jefferson state of mind. You don't know us, you have no clue, and still you're telling us what to do. We don't know you or what you face. It's time to start a brand new state. The time has come for 51 in a Jefferson state of mind. Jefferson state of mind, carved from lessons we all learned through time.